Well, hello everybody. I hope everything's going well. Well, boy, it's a beautiful spring day here. Right now it's about probably about 65 degrees. Feels great. Well, anyway, back in February, we had an ice storm here, and we had some pretty interesting ice formations, water droplets freezing on the branches, on the leaves, and I took that opportunity to get out and actually get a little bit of photography in. I did it right here in my backyard, so it can't get much more convenient than that. Well, I didn't actually get a chance to process the images in the video at the time and post them, but I've since done that, and I'd like to share those with you. It consists of about 3 images. This is going back to February of this year, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, let's get to it. Well, hello. Let's see, I'm back out today. It's actually been a few weeks since I've had a chance to get out, but it feels good again. Oh boy, as you can see, we're experiencing some winter weather. We've got snow, freezing rain, and well, like a lot of the country is right now. And it was totally unplanned today. I hadn't planned to actually come out and do anything, but once I looked outside, it seemed like the winter weather obviously presented some photographic opportunities, and I decided to come out and try and take advantage of some of them. Okay, I'm in my backyard right now. That's one of the good things about winter weather sometimes. Sometimes you don't have to venture off very far from where you live. My backyard will actually do just fine. I have quite a few trees in the surrounding areas in my backyard. When I came out, I was looking at the freezing rain that had accumulated around a lot of the leaves and the branches, and I said, wow, I have to get out and try and do something. So that's exactly what I'm planning on doing today. This was totally unplanned, of course, so I really didn't have a game plan. I really don't know exactly what I'm going to do. But sometimes that's the most fun. Sometimes you get some of the best photographs when you haven't actually planned anything. All right, right off the bat, I'm thinking I'll probably use my Takina 100mm macro lens and get some close-up shots of a lot of the freezing rain around the leaves and around the branches, and see what else materializes. We've also have a lot of water droplets. It's just slightly below freezing, but we're getting water droplets as some of the ice is melting. So that might present some interesting photographic opportunities right there. All right, I'm going to get to it and see exactly what I can come up with, and hopefully I'll have something decent to share with you. All right, let's see what I come up with. Get back with you later. All right, let's see, this first shot, okay, I took probably 2 or 3 before I actually got to this particular one. And this one caught my eye. And of course, as I said, I was using the Takina 100mm macro lens. And if you look carefully, I really enjoy this. You can actually see the green coming from some of the leaves in the background. If you look here, as the water is drooping and frozen here. And if you look at this small little twig, you can see some pretty good detail here. Now, I do wish that I had taken this shot at a couple of different focal lengths. As you can see, the focusing is essentially for the water itself. But I wish I had backed up the focusing just a little bit, so this would have been would have been sharper. But being that it's a macro shot, and I was probably just a matter of maybe 8 or 9 inches away from the actual water droplet itself, I think this is pretty good. I'm not really complaining about it. Okay, the settings for this Okay, I shot this at ISO 800 at 100 millimeters, of course, f7 and 1/80th of a second. And overall, I was pretty pleased with this. Looking at the background, what I did was I got this into Photoshop, and I used the blur tool, and I just blurred and smoothed out the background here, and added some color saturation to it. The green here is actually a tree that was actually behind this water droplet, and I simply turned up the color saturation a little bit, and in these areas to kind of balance out the color between the twig here, the water, and the background. And I thought that came out reasonably well. Okay. All right, now this next shot. As you can see, I gave this a pretty extreme crop. When I looked at the image itself, when I looked around it, there was quite a bit of dead space. So what I did was I cropped it in a pretty extreme manner here. And by doing that, it actually accentuates the length of this little of the tree, of the branch right here, and it really draws attention to the water that's frozen here. You can see some nice little detail here, actually on the twig itself. Now, as with the last one, I wish that I had taken maybe one or two other shots and varied my focusing point, because as you can see here, the focus is essentially for the water right here in the foreground, or I should say closest to the lens, and the little twig itself right here isn't quite as in focus, but I don't really think that's a huge issue here. Now, as with the last shot, what I did was I took the blur tool and I blurred the background even more. Of course, shooting at that type of magnification that close, there was very little detail in the background anyway. But I decided to intensify that by blurring this out and then increasing the color saturation. There's a bit of a pastel look here, which I rather like. And I also took the sponge tool in Photoshop and also went over these areas. And like I said, it's creating a nice little pastel look in these areas. And as with the last image, the green that you see here is actually a bush that was actually behind this. So I intensified the color saturation on this as well. And I think this came out relatively well. Okay, the settings for this also were, let's see, ISO 800 at 100 millimeters, and this was shot at f9, and it was also shot at 1/80th of a second. And I rather like this particular shot. I'm thinking of actually printing this and hanging it up. The dimensions are the dimensions of this particular image would make for a very nice print. I shot this with a Nikon D810, and that camera is a 36 megapixel camera. So I think this would make for a very nice image to hang on the wall. Okay, and here is the third and final image. Now, when I shot this, when I looked at it, I said, there's something here. There was actually there was a really big mass of confusion with a tree that was actually hanging downward under the weight of all of the ice that had formed on it. And I was trying to find something in particular to focus on. So the original shot was actually covered a much larger area, but in post-processing I cropped it down and came up with this particular composition here in post. Now, if you look in the background, I did the exact same thing with this particular image. I used the blur tool in Photoshop, and I went through the these areas in the background and blur them out, and then increase the color saturation in those areas, so it blended in rather well with the tree itself. And if you look here on the far right, you can also see the green coming from one of the trees in the background. Now, this particular shot, what I did was, being that I'm shooting at in the macro range, what I did was I took probably about 8 or 9 different exposures at varying points on this particular tree itself, just to make sure that everything in the main area of interest was in focus. And I think everything came out pretty well here. Everything is nice and sharp and showing very good detail. All right. And as I do with just about all of my images, I increase the color saturation to give it more pop and to give it a greater appeal. That's pretty much my trademark. I put the finishing touches on everything by increasing the color saturation. And this particular image was no different. If you look in the ice, you can see the reflection, the green reflection from the leaves and trees that are around it. And I took the sponge tool in Photoshop and actually went over some of these areas to accentuate those areas. And also in Lightroom, I did some selective color saturation adjustments to bring out certain areas. All right, so that pretty much does it for these 3 images, and I hope you enjoyed them. Well, I hope you enjoyed those images. I had a lot of fun putting them together and doing the editing on them. You know, sometimes you don't get the greatest images when you come out, but just being able to get out and practice your craft, it just means the world. I find that photography is good for the soul. It's definitely good for my soul. And it brings out the creativity in you, and it gives you something really constructive to do. So, well, I guess that's going to do it for today. Losing the light here pretty quickly. And but anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to comment, like, and please subscribe. Okay? Until next time.